Hello guys, I'm Koscyber, and today we are continuing with our cybersecurity starter pack or the basic pack. So we have already started this video. We have already started it, and we are continuing from where we left because building cybersecurity career is what from step by step, and you have to build it on a standard platform so that you will not fall short. And we are at model 4 whereby we define the introduction to what network security. Now, network security comes in different forms, and we are going to break them down for you to understand it properly. Please, if you are watching, do well to subscribe, like, comment, and share the video as we connect and we continue with our cybersecurity basic so we get the art of hacking for you to understand it properly. Now, what are some of the basics of computer network? How do you define computer network? A computer network is a set of computers connected together for the purpose of what sharing resources. Let's look at an example. In an office setting up, all computers might be connected to a central server where the employee can save and access file, or the central server can be the ISP, internet service provider, distribute internet service connection to the employers at their company. So that's what it simply means for what the definition of what network security. Now let's look at some importance of having a network security or understanding computer network security in the field of what cyber security. Network security is crucial to protect the data during transmission and to prevent unauthorized access to a network. If you don't understand, let me go straight with an example whereby a retailer needs strong network security to protect customers' credit card information when they shop online. So if you have a shop online and you don't have a strong network security and a customer comes to your shop to purchase a product and the person is supposed to use their card, their personal information can be leaked because you don't have a strong network security. That is simply means or simplify the definition of what computer network security. These are the highlights for you to understand all this. If you want to get to the art of hacking, then you have to DM me and join our cybersecurity class whereby we send you and show you how you can what go by it and how you can protect your network security or how to set up a network security in a real time. Now, let's move to the network security goals. The goals for network security. What are some of the goals that network security need to have? One is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This thing falls a form of what? CIA. CIA. Now, the goal align with the CIA thread mentioned earlier in our section. So, if you haven't watched our first video, do well to go and watch it to understand it better. Now, confidentiality. Protecting data from unauthorized access. How? Using encryption to secure sensitive information being sent over the internet. Now, the encryption, we have different forms where but we'll talk about it down below. So do well to watch the video to the end. Now, when it comes to the integrity ensures that the data sent over the network is not what? Altered. It's not being added, but what? Nothing has been taken from it and nothing has been added from it. Implementing a digital signature to verify that a message has not been tampered with. So if you have this information, you have to store it safer so that no one can what? Take something from it or something out of it. This falls under what? Network security. So in the form of network security, having the CIA thread also help your organization to understand the way of protecting your network security, your customers' information, your customers, their details, and anything that they need to know. Let's look at the last one under the goals of what? Network security. Now, we talk about the last one, which is what? Availability under the CIA thread, ensuring network service are accessible when needed. Now, when network is not accessible and a customer come to your company or come to your place for anything, they know that they cannot purchase. Even if you have the MasterCard, Visa card to purchase products at your shop, that's how it is. They are not going to get it. I hope you understand. Now, using load balance to distribute network traffic evenly across all servers, preventing it from what? Downtime. This whereby you balance the load of your traffic. Now, if you have traffic, the speed should run like this. If you have higher traffic, the speed should run like this. If you have lower traffic, it should run like this. That's how it's supposed to be. Now, protecting network security under the form of cyber security, you need one, which is firewall. What are firewalls? What are some of the types of firewalls? Let me say firewall. You can see this wallpaper. This wallpaper also form as an example of firewall. Now we have the main wall. You have the main wall behind this wallpaper. So this wallpaper is forming as what? A firewall. Then firewall comes into form the IDS and the IPS, intrusion detection system for the IDS, and intrusion prevention system for the IPS. So now, under all these two forms, we have some examples that we are going to talk about, or we are going to look at it. Now, what are some of the type of what firewall that I need to address to you to understand it better? Now, packet filtering. Packet filtering based on predefined rules such as allowing or blocking specific addresses. Now, this falls under the IDS intrusion detection system. They have what? A set rule for a particular IP address to pass through it. Hope you understand me. Now let's look at some example. Now, blocking all traffic from unknown malicious IP addresses. This is the work of what? Packet filtering. Under the examples of what? Firewalls, or under network security. So with the network security, what do you need to understand? The CIA, the firewall. So now let's look at the second state or second aspect of firewall, or second type of firewall. Stateful inspection. Monitor the state of what? Active connection and make decision based on the context of the traffic. This whereby the traffic that is being sent, or the traffic that is what? Approaching the network, the firewall will what? Give its own rule, set it its own rule to either allow it or to block it. That is what the stateful is saying. Let's look at an example. Allowing traffic that is part of an established connection. So it tells you that it allows what? Traffic that is part of what? An established connection. Now, let's look at what? The proxy firewalls. Proxy firewalls act as an what? Intermediate between a user and the internet, preventing additional security by filtering requests. Now, this is your hand. The proxy is acting as an what? Intermediate between the internet and your firewall or your filtering request. Are you understanding? Now, let's take an example. A proxy firewall might check incoming traffic. So when it's coming like this, it is checking against a list of what? Known threats. These vulnerabilities, this form of cyber attack, whether brute force attack, whatever that is what, WPS scan, whatever that the attacker is trying to work, security, they are going to what? Block it. Threat from allowing it into the network. Now, let's move to the next thing. How do we configure firewalls for network security? Configuring a firewall involves setting up rules and policies that determines what traffic is allowed, as I said before, using the IPS and IDS. Now let's look at an example. A company might configure its firewall to block all incoming traffic except from traffic on port 443. Port what? 443. Hyper Text Transfer Protocol Security or Secure. Port 443. Do you know port 21, port 22, port 88? Please go and read about this port, and it is very, very important for becoming a cybersecurity expert or being a penetration tester or a technical hacker. You need to know some of these ports that it will help you. So port 44 is for what? HTTPS security. Now, which is used for what? Web browsing, which is the port 443. Now, configuration or configuring a firewall also have something to do with what? Setting a firewall policy. Now, effective firewall management involves regular updating firewall rules, monitoring logs for suspicious activity, and maintaining backup configuration. Let's look at an example. Implementing a policy to review firewall logs daily or quickly detect and respond to potential threats. These are what you need to do. These are what you need to do, or the policy that you have to set. Every day you check for threats, you check the logs and everything so that you can what? Monitor the ins and outs of the traffic that comes to your network. Now, let's look at something here. Virtual private network, which falls under what? Network security. Virtual private network simply means the VPN. What is virtual private network and how does it work? Now, a virtual private network creates a secure encryption connection over a less secure network, such as the internet. This allows a remote user to secure accessing a company's network. Let's look at an example here. An employee working from home uses a VPN to securely connect to their computer network, protecting sensitive data from being intercepted by a hacker. Maybe this employee is using what? A public Wi-Fi to intercept the company, or to start working on the company because he is at home. How will he protect his network from hackers from accessing or creating a man in the middle is by using what? A VPN. So that is how it is. How do you set up a VPN, and what are some of the simple free VPN and paid VPN that you need to know? Setting up a VPN typically involves installing a VPN software on the client devices. As a cybersecurity student, you need to know or get this into your mind. And configuring the VPN server to authenticate user and encrypt data. Now, let me break it down with this example. A business might set up a VPN server that employees can connect to ensure, or in ensuring that all data transmitted over the internet is encrypted and secure. Now, one major important or one major reason for using a VPN is what? It hides your IP address, and also it encrypts your transmission of data from one device to the other. That is the major work of what? Using a VPN. Now, let's look at secure remote access and best practice with the VPN. For secure remote access, it is important to use strong encryption regularly, updating your VPN software. Some people will install their VPN software on their phone, on their devices, on their laptop, or on their company's devices. As a cybersecurity student and you are working with this company, one major key for you to do is what? To update the VPN that you are using, the VPN software that your company is using. Now, enforce multiple factor authentication or two-factor authentication, which add an extra layer of security to your company's logins. Now, let's look at an example. Now, a company might require employees to use a VPN with multi-factor authentication to access the company network, ensuring that even if a password is being compromised, unauthorized access is still prevented. That is the work for enabling two-factor authentication. So this can fall under setting a policy, a VPN policy for the company, that if you want to log into our company address, or you want to log into your work area of whatever software that the company is using to do their management, you have to provide what? A two-factor authentication to their company logins before you be able to what? Log into the account. This prevents what? Unauthorized access, or even if the account is being hacked, the password is being hacked, it still prevents it from logging in. Now, let's look at the intrusion detection and prevention system that I was talking about. Understanding the IDS and IPS. IDS simply means intrusion detection system. This monitors network traffic from suspicious activities and alert the administrator that someone is trying to log into the account. But this is not going to prevent it from logging it into it, or this is not going to prevent the attacker from logging it into the account. Now, example, an IDS might detect unusual traffic patterns, indicating a potential attack and notify the security team. That is their work. That is the work of IDS. Now, let's look at the IPS, which is intrusion prevention system. Similar to IDS, but can take immediate action to block or prevent the attack. That's the two different things that this IPS and the IDS work. Some only detect, the IDS only detect, whereby the IPS prevent, it detects and prevent. So if I were to be you as a cybersecurity student or a cybersecurity analyst or network security personnel, I'll go for what? IPS. The reason being that IPS can detect and prevent. So that is very, very important. Now let's look at an example of what? IPS. An IPS might detect and block unknown malware signature from entering the network, as I said before. Yes. Let's look at configuring the IPS and IDS in a network. Which one is more suitable for your organization? Configuring IPS and IDS involves setting up a detection rule, threshold for alerts, and response action for different types of threat. Wait, configuring an IDS to alert the administrator when there is multiple failed login attempts on a server, indicating a possible brute force attack. Simple as that. Now, let's look at the best practice to develop for IPS and IDS. Now, best practice include regular updating your IPS and IDS signature, turning detection rule to minimize false positives, and integrating with the other security tool for comprehensive threat management. If you do not set this rule, I can tell you that you'll be there and you see that you'll be getting alerts without anyone getting access into your account, or without anyone trying to brute force your network security. Now, wait, let's look at this thing here. Regular updating the IPS signature to ensure it can detect the latest threats, and configuring it to automatically block traffic from unknown or malicious IP address. This whereby the IPS come in, whereby it detects and prevents unknown or malicious IP address from entering into your network security. Now let's look at the network protocol, like what we talk about of the HTTPS, whereby the port is port 443, whereby it is also a browser port. Now, network protocol and security overview. Common protocols like TCP/IP, HTTPS, and DNS. If you are cybersecurity personnel, you really need to understand all these ports because you need them handily. And also one port that is not here, but we'll talk about this, is what the UDP, user datagram protocol. You need to understand that port also. Now let's look at the TCP/the IP. Simple meaning of what TCP is what? Transmission control protocol. The IP simply means what? The internet protocol. Now the foundation of protocol for the internet communication is based on this TCP/IP. Now when you load a web page, the TCP is used to what? Break down the data into packet, translate it. Now you type in your search bar book. Now this TCP is going to what? Communicate with your server to bring out what? A resembling information, or it goes through the internet, throughout the internet, to pick that major thing that you are talking about to bring it to you. That is the work of TCP. Now let's look at the work of what? HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Now this protocol is used for transmitting web pages over the internet. That is what? HTTP the hyper transfer protocol. Now let's look at the HTTPS. The HTTPS adds a layer of encryption for security. Let's look at this before I break it down. When you access your bank website, the HTTPS ensure that the data transmitted between your browser and the bank server is what encrypted, which means if you are using HTTP only, the hacker or any attacker can get access into your bank account or that bank server. Hope you understand me. Let's look at the DNS, domain name system. The DNS simply means what? Domain name system. Let's look at it. Now, you have a website named Koscyber.com. That is your domain name. The DNS translates domain names like google.com, as I said before, now into IP address that computer can understand. Now, let's now this pen is what? A big pen or original crystal pen. We know that this original crystal pen. Now, how do we identify this pen? This pen can only be identified by its name or by the number that it's having, that TL14. That same thing applies to what? Domain name. A domain have a specific identification. That is what? The IP address. Now, I type in this domain name into Google. Now, the computer cannot understand that I'm looking for Google. It only understands numbers or metrics stuff. So it translates it into what? IP address that the computer can understand. Wait. When you type Google into your browser, the DNS translates it into IP addresses of the Google server for you to understand. Simple as that. Hope you understand me. We are talking about network security. How do we protect it? Now, securing network protocol is very important. Yes, it is very important. Look at it. Securing network protocol involves implementing encryption, strong authentication mechanism, and monitoring for anomalies. Example, using HTTPS instead of using HTTP to ensure that data transmitted between a user and a browser or a website is what? Encrypted. Now, and secure from what? Eavesdroppers. What am I talking about? When you use HTTPS in our previous or in our understanding or explanation for network protocol, we talk about HTTP and HTTPS, whereby we know that HTTP is just a normal protocol that has no strong security, and whereby HTTPS is a protocol that has what? A strong security, which has the name of HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol / secure, that runs on port 443. How we understand? Yes. So let's move. So whenever you are using or you are creating a website for your company, for a company as a cybersecurity student or a personal, you have to what? Use HTTPS. Otherwise, you are putting the company at risk. Now, let's look at the XSL. Important of what? Secure socket layer in the network security. Now, and TCL. Now, this SSL and TCL work hand in hand. Let's understand it. Now, TCL simply means what? Transport layer security. Now, the SSL, which is secure socket layer, and the TCL are protocols that provide encryption for data transmitting, ensuring communication over a network, as I said before. Now, let's look at some examples that help us to understand it much better. Now, TCL and SSL. When you see a padlock, I say what? When you see a padlock icon in your browser address bar, it indicates that the communication between the website is what? Secure with what? TCL, transport layer security, and SSL, secure socket layer. This protects your data from being intercepted by an attacker. Now, this is everything that you need to understand for network security in terms of what? Building a career in cybersecurity. This is all that you need to know about it. Now, In our next module, we are going to talk about endpoint security and introduction to endpoint, whereby we will let you to understand everything about what endpoint security. I go by the name Koscyber, and this is our cybersecurity basics for anyone who wants to join or learn about cybersecurity. And we are preparing the art of hacking for anyone who also wants to become a specific or a standard hacker in the realm of cybersecurity. I go by the name. All we want you to know that you have to stay safe, stay informed, and we love you. Do well to subscribe, like, comment, and share the video with anyone. DM us if you want to join our class of Art of Cybersecurity or Art of Hacking and become a pro penetration tester, a pro cybersecurity awareness creator, or a pro cybersecurity auditor. See you in our next video. Stay safe and stay informed. We love you. Alhamdulillah.